Hello my sweets, it's Keisha. Welcome back to my channel and thank you for choosing to watch my video. In today's Christmas in July video, I'm making an extra large faux gingerbread man cupcake. While this does take some time to create, it's easy, customizable, and budget friendly. Measuring in at just under 14 inches tall, this cutie is perfect for adding a festive touch to your holiday decor. Let's get started. To begin this project, I have 3 cardboard circles cut out here. 2 of them are at 6 inches and 1 of them is 4.5 inches. I also have just a old cotton candy container that I'll be using to build the base of the structure. Now what I've done on these cardboards is I used a compass. So the compass made the hole in the center, and from there I separated it into 8s, both the bigger one and the smaller one. The smaller one I'm going to be using for the bottom, so I am going to tape this into place in approximately the center. You can kind of see there's like a little dimple in there, and then I have the center mark. So I'm going to see if I can line those up as best I can. Maybe I should draw on it a little bit so I can see it better. A little bullseye there. Yeah, that didn't help. So I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it and get it there as best I can. Just make sure it's kind of even all the way around. And I'm just gonna take that into place. I guess I shouldn't have gone over my marks. And just make sure I don't cover up my marks here. Okay, and then what I want to do is place this one on top, and I'm going to see just how big this one is, the cup, and we're looking at 1, 2, 3 and a quarter, 3 1/4, so that's 1.5 less than 1/8. Let's see if I can 1.5 plus 1/8. I'm not real good at this compass thing. I forgot all of my math that I learned or didn't learn. That seems a little big, but oh no. Okay, so before I put that on top, I do have some stones here I want to put in. Hi, baby.
What is she not doing?
I'm just going to place some of these stones down in here to give it some weight. I think that'll be good. Okay, so next I'm going to use my glue gun here and just secure this down just a little bit more than just the tape. Okay, and I should probably secure those down. I'm going to add some brown paper here, and I'm just going to wedge that into the top, just so those aren't rattling around too much. Okay, and what I'm going to do is take my glue gun and come around this edge here. Stick that down, and I'm going to take a little bit of tape and secure this onto here as well. I'm going to take a little bit more glue just to make sure this is all secured, and come back around these edges. So I'm going to go ahead and let this glue set up, and I'm going to come back with the next piece that I need to do. Next, what I have here are 2 pieces of Posterboard that are 5 inches wide. Yes, 5 inches wide. And what I've done, I don't know if I'll be able to pick it up, but I've done 1-inch tick marks along both edges on both pieces. And what I'm going to do is take this piercer tool that I have, well, not the piercer side. I'm going to use this side here, and I'm going to take it and line up my ruler. Let me get my broken one here. Line up my ruler onto those 1-inch tick marks, and I'm just going to score it. And this will help me, if I can get an impression, this will help me when it comes time to doing my accordion fold. Okay, so I'm going to do all of this all the way down the length, and I cut the length on the wider side of the Posterboard, which was 28 inches. So this is 28 by 5. So I'm going to continue down the line, and I cut 2 of those. And if I'm being honest, I don't know exactly how much I'll need of this, which is why I did go ahead and cut 2. But hopefully by the end of this, I'll have a clearer idea of what is needed to make this wrapper. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and finish this, and then I will come back when I'm ready to start applying this. Okay, so I have one of my 28-inch pieces of Posterboard accordion folded up, and I just wanted to come back and say I ended up switching over to this tool here. I can't remember what it's called, but I used that to do the score lines, and that was a lot easier on my hands. So if anybody's interested and you have this tool, you can use this. You can also use anything that's blunt to help with that. So what I did also was I went through and I marked, starting with the first one, every other up piece. So I marked this one, skipped this one, marked this one. And if I'm remembering correctly, I think that got me to 8. So what I'm going to do is circle this around, and I'm going to match my marks that I made on the Posterboard to my marks on the cardboard. And I think that'll give sufficient accordion to make it look sort of realistic. Okay, so I'm gonna actually tack it with hot glue, and look what I want to do. And I marked it on the top of the bottom. Also, I wanted to make note that in the beginning, when I was putting this on, I was not paying attention to my marks that I had made, where I, cut this into 8ths, and they were off. So I had to go back and line up my marks again, which I don't know if I can, oh, there You can see there and there. I had to remark it on the bottom so that these lines actually line up, because these are the guidelines to make sure that your cupcake liner is going to be lining. So I'm going to go ahead and see about how I'm going to get this attached. I already lost my mark again. Okay, there it is. So I'm going to tack the first one. I'm just trying to see how I'm going to, because it's going to kind of pitch in. If it seems like I don't know what I'm doing, it's because I don't know what I'm doing. But I'm going to make this work. So I am going to start if I can get this off. Okay. I'm going to start at the bottom. I think that might be the easiest because it's smaller. And just tack it. And then I'm going to come and line this up here on top. Quit moving. Okay. So next, here's my next mark. I'm gonna have to go in and find the next mark on my bottom and tack that into place. I wonder if I shouldn't. I'm gonna take this off and start over. I feel like yeah. Let's try that again. It is going to go at an angle, just so you know. So it's going to feel like, because I'm feeling like I want to do it flat, but it's never going to reach if it's flat. It's got to go on at an angle. So because of the fact that the base is 2 inches smaller than the top. So we're going to put that right on the edge and tack it. And it's July 3rd and the neighbors are popping off fireworks already. Alright, so I'm gonna squeeze this in so the bottom is lined up, and I'm going to tack it at the bottom. And I'm just tacking it on the edge, on the bottom. I know you can't see it, and I apologize for the terrible angles. And then I've got my mark up here. So I'm going to go ahead and tack that. I'm just going to continue skipping one, doing one, and attaching it at the top and the bottom until I get all the way around. Okay, so I've gotten the accordion fold all the way around. It's just tacked right now. I did have to go ahead and add a 6-inch piece into it. So if my math is mathing, it was, what did I say? 28 inches originally. 28, and then I added 6. So it's 34 inches of poster board is what I have around here. So now what I want to do is go ahead and tack in these other pieces by just dropping some hot glue where they meet. I'm going to do this on the top and on the bottom, and then once I complete that, I'm going to go around and cover this, all of this Posterboard in masking tape. I've gotten the cupcake cup all covered with the masking tape now, top, bottom, everywhere. And so what I'm going to do is set this aside, just within reach here. Next I have these styrofoam discs, or floral foam discs, excuse me, from Dollar Tree. 2 come in a pack, and I'm still deciding what size I want to make the top of the cupcake. So depending on how many I'm going to use here, I'm in between 3 and all 4 of them. So let me get these open. And I also have the other 6-inch circle here that I have cut out, and also another piece of floral foam here that's in this shape. Okay, so I know for sure, oh, do I know for sure anymore? So this is where we're gonna start auditioning, because this part I want to make for the actual cake, and then this for the frosting, I'm thinking. So, okay. So I'm going to use this for the cake part. And then I was just cutting some circles out earlier, and I have some that I wasn't going to use because they weren't quite the right size. And so this one is cut at 5.5 inches, and I think this one will be good here as a transition to the frosting. At least that's my hope. So, firstly, what I'm going to do is glue this piece, styrofoam piece, down.
Come on.
Just a second, baby.
I'm just saying already.
I know. And then I'm going to take and glue this one here on top.
Yeah.
Thank you, baby. Thank you.
That is good. Sure.
I'm just going to try to center this on top as best that I can. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and glue these two together.
Yep.
Yep.
I'm missing this one.
Yeah.
Go.
What you making?
Play-Doh.
You want to make Play-Doh?
Play. It's play.
Okay.
It's play.
Okay, let Mama glue this piece down and we'll get your Play-Doh. Okay?
Okay. Come on.
And then I'm going to glue this one as central as I can get it also. Okay. I'll let these set up and get some Play-Doh together, and I'll be right back. So I've gotten these pieces glued on here. That's what I was doing last. And so now I'm going to take this foil, this from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to get some around in here to kind of smooth out this transition. And fit this in here. It'll just help take up some space. Let me just see if I can get this all the way around here. Okay, so I'm liking how that's looking. So what I'm going to do is hot glue this down. Okay, I'm just going to shape this in here a little bit more, because I want it to still be able to fit into here. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is end up covering this with the masking tape. Now for this part, I'm still going to be using the foil, and what I want to do is see if I can't build just like a swirl around it so it takes on more of a frosting look. So I'm going to attempt that with this foil here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to roll it up on a diagonal. Let me just get this piece out here so that I can kind of get an idea of what I need to do here. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is just anchor this, so just get it started. So I'm going to put some glue and I'm going to hold it right here until that's set. I feel like I'm going to have to add some more layers onto this so it's a little bit more chunky. So I think I'm going to do that now before I go too much further. So while I was away, I added some more foil onto the rope here, a foil rope, and so you can see it's a lot longer than what it was, and it's got a little bit more body to it. So I'm going to go ahead and reattach it here. I'll let that glue set up a little bit. Okay, and so now what I want to do is kind of just go around this styrofoam here and just kind of try to make it look like a swirling cone. So I think what I'm going to do is start attaching this with the hot glue. And I'm just swirling it around. So this is what I have so far. Let me turn it to the side so you can kind of get a glimpse of this in all of its glory. I know it looks a hot mess right now, and I'm hoping that when I get through with it, it's not going to look a hot mess. But I'm going to go ahead and shape this and the foil in some to try to get it to have that more icing look. And then I'm also going to go ahead and bring this around a little bit, just so it kind of doesn't look like it's just cut off here.
Chippy.
And I've got to go get chippies now. So I will return once I get this shaped up how I want it with the next step. Okay, so I've gotten this covered as much as I can with foil. I did go around the bottom edge here, and I'd say as much as I can because I did run out of foil, so we're just going to stop right there. So I'm going to go ahead and set this to the side for now. Now, this was the cake piece that I originally did that had the foil. I went ahead and covered this one with masking tape as well. I figured I'd just do that before I came back. You don't need to see me tape this. And then here is the base. Now what I want to do is go ahead and start covering these, and this is just some packing paper that I have from packages that we've received here in the home that I save, and I just roll it up and put it away for times like these. So here I've mixed up some Elmers school glue and some water. Everything I've read said sorry about that. Said to do a 2-to-1 ratio, and so that's kind of what I did. I didn't actually measure. I just, you know, put some glue in there and some water and mixed it up. That's not a hard and fast rule. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and wet my surface with the glue, and I'm just going to start sticking this on, and I will likely do at least 3 or 4 layers of this, just to make sure that it's really strong. Let me stretch this out. So I'm going to be doing the top and the bottom of this, and then all of this. So once I've gotten this covered and they have dried, I will be back with you. Okay, so the cupcake liner and the actual cake part are drying now. So what I want to do is cover this portion, and you'll notice it looks a little bit different. I did go ahead and get some additional foil and fill in around some of these parts that were a little bit more bare, so that hopefully it'll look like what I want it to look like, but I guess we'll be seeing soon. So what I'm going to be using to cover this is Model Magic by Crayola, and it's in white, obviously, you can see there, and I'm gonna use that by rolling out strips and applying it around how I want it to look, and fingers crossed that's gonna work. I also have some Quick and Thick glue laid out here, and I also have a little bit of water in case I do need to do a little bit of smoothing. I'm not really an expert at, I'm not at all an expert at using the Model Magic. I'm trying this for the first time, and I'm trying it here with you on camera, which is great for me. Also, this stick is here because I'm using it as a placeholder. I have a piece that I want to end up adding to this, so I don't want to, I guess, lose sight of where I want it to go. That's the only reason why that is there. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Oh, I also have these clay sculpting tools. I'm not sure where I got them from, but they're just some little plastic tools that I have on hand. So I'm going to go ahead and take off a piece of it here. Go ahead and close up the package, and I'm just going to go ahead and condition it just to get it warmed up, because as you can see, it breaks easily when it's not conditioned, and that we definitely don't want. Okay, so I think this is good here. So what I'm going to do is kind of initially start it in the shape that I want it in. And I'm working on top of a silicone mat here. And I'm going to roll it out. And this is just one of those wooden ones from Dollar Tree. And this is a little wide for what I want. To begin with. So I think what I'm going to do is cut it. Some bubbles in there. Just going to tap that out. I'm going to cut it because I want it to start here and just spiral up like how the foil is spiraled up. So let's try that. I'm just going to reshape this. I just want to stretch it out a little bit. Let's do a quick roll over. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is take some of this Quick and Thick and kind of dab it onto the surface, and I'm hoping that this will help the clay stick and not just slide off or not even adhere to the foil. Okay. And if any of you have worked with this and you have any tips or tricks to share, please feel free to leave comments.
Trees.
So I'm gonna, okay baby. Okay, so I'm gonna start, I'll be right there. I'm gonna start by laying this around, but I don't want it to stretch too much at this point. And I'd say I've rolled it out approximately like a quarter, I'm sorry, 1/8 of an inch. And all I'm gonna do is just get that pressed on there and smoothed out as best I can. Okay, and I do need to be careful because I see that while I'm rolling it on the table, it's flattening out, so I just need to stay mindful of that. Okay, so this is what we're looking like so far. I feel like I want to fix that up. Water. Fix this up a little bit. I think that's as smooth as I'm gonna get that for right now. Okay, so I'm gonna set that down and roll out another piece, and I'm gonna continue doing the same method all the way around until the whole thing is covered. So the top is now completely covered, and it is still in the process of drying. The outer layer has dried, but the inner layer is still drying. So what I'm going to do is set this aside. I think I read on the package that it takes 72 hours to dry. So I'm going to set this aside, but this is how it turned out, and I did leave that little area in there to stick in a decoration. So I'm going to set this aside to keep on drying. And these two have also had a chance to dry. Now, I was trying to make up my mind whether I wanted to just paint this or go ahead and cover it with the clay also. And this top part, the cake part. And I'm going to go ahead and cover it with the clay just because I'm not really liking all of this texture that's showing on it from where I did the gluing on the paper. So I'm going to set the cupcake liner to the side, but I am going to go ahead and do a covering on this. So I'm going to get my clay back out. And it's going to be the same process. I do need to go ahead and condition it. Well, it says 72 hours. I just wanted to double verify that before I close this package up. So it's 72 hours to completely dry. I also have my glue here to the side and still some water. And again, that's the Thick and Quick glue. And also my paintbrush, the rolling pin, and I have some clay tools that are further to the side. So I'm gonna condition this for a little bit longer. Okay. So I'm going to roll this into a ball to begin with. And then I'm going to flatten it. All right, and I'm going to take my rolling pin and just flatten that out a little bit more and try to get it to a size that's bigger than what this is. Let me just test it here. It's not quite big enough. I think I don't have enough clay here, so I'm gonna need to start over, but I won't make you watch that part. I'll go ahead and pause it and pull out a little bit more clay, and I'll be back when I'm done rolling it. Okay, I think I've successfully gotten this rolled out for as big as I'm going to need it here to come up around the sides. So now what I'm going to do is wet my brush a little bit so it looks a little bit crunchy. And now I'm going to take this Quick and Thick and apply it over the top. So if you decide to remake this, and you want to, go ahead and just use clay instead of, sorry, I thought I was doing the wrong thing for a second. You want to use the clay instead of using the paper mache over it. I would say you don't necessarily need to do the paper mache over it, over the whole thing. I still would do the tape though, but that's just me. So, but if you know any different, again, feel free to comment and, you know, let us all know what you know. So I'm going to go ahead and get the sides painted here with the glue. Okay. So I think I'm going to go ahead and set this up on top of this roll of masking tape I have here. And I'm going to use this side and lay it on top. And just kind of press that in. Just kind of form it around. And you just want to have a gentle touch with this because it does pick up your fingerprints. So I'm just trying to gently coax it around. So you can see all the, well, maybe you can't see it with the white. You can see my fingerprints here from when I flipped it over. So I'm just going to take just a little bit of water and attempt to smooth those out. And I'm not as concerned about the middle here because that's going to be covered with our frosting. So you're once that's all attached, you're not going to ever see that. I'm more concerned about the sides of it. So now what I'm going to do is flip it back over and smooth out the bottom a little bit more because I think, let's see. I center that. It's actually a little big for this now. And oh dear. Okay, don't do that. It's going to be a little bit big, but I think once it's all painted and put together, it's going to be okay. It's a little big now. So if I had this to do over again, I would likely make this center piece a little bit smaller also, for the fact that I'm adding clay to it. Okay, so I'm going to flip this and kind of smooth this down a little bit. And then I'm just going to set it aside to dry. The cupcake liner has had a chance to dry, and so now I'm going to go ahead and get it painted. I'll be using a mixture of Waverly chalk paint in Ballet Slipper and Hazelnut. I did just put a dollop into the mixture there to make it more of a brownie pink rather than a pinky pink. I don't know if you can see the difference there, but yeah, that's what I did. So what I'm going to do is start on the bottom and then work my way down the sides, and I'm just going to be doing thin layers of this so that it doesn't get too thick and start cracking on me. So I'm going to do a thin first layer, just getting it on there, trying to get it in all of the cracks and grooves of the paper mache, and then I'll likely end up doing 2 to 3 coats of paint for the full coverage. Another option, if you choose to recreate this project, is you can spray paint it, so you don't have to be worried about, well, I wouldn't say worried, but that's just an easier option if you have the means and the color to do so. Now I'm going to start coming down the sides. I'll likely just go up to the upper rim here, because I don't believe that there's any need to paint this top part since it's going to be covered. So I'm just going to start painting the sides, and once that is dry, I will be back with you. Cupcake liner has had a chance to dry, and this is what it's looking like so far. And so now what I want to do is use some of this Folk Art Glitterific in the color Gold Ore. It says it's an acrylic paint, and but it's really thick, almost like it's kind of pasty. But what I want to do is just come around the top of it just to add a little something to this. And I'm gonna just kind of go in an irregular pattern. And with this, it says you're supposed to dab it on with a foam brush. Unfortunately, I don't have a foam brush, so I'm just using a stiffer brush that I have here. So I'm just going to go around just the top, maybe come down a little bit, but I just kind of want to add a little extra decoration onto this cupcake liner. So this is what it's looking like so far, and the camera really isn't doing it justice. It is really pretty in person, all the glitter that's happening here. So I'm going to go ahead and continue doing this, and I'll wait until it dries, and if it needs some of the places filled in with the glitter, I'll go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to go ahead and come back once the foam clay has had a chance to dry. That'll actually be in a couple of more days before that happens. So I'm just going to continue doing this. And then it'll be a couple of days for me, but it'll be shortly for you. Okay, so I'm back with these, and well, as you can see, really with this one, it has really cracked. Now, I'm not too worried about the center part because that's going to be covered, but this edge rim here is going to be seen, so I need to take care of that. Also, the frosting part has got some cracks in there, so I'm going to try to fix that right now. So what I'm going to use is some caulking from Dollar Tree. It's the all-purpose caulking, and I forgot to get some water here, so let me get a little bit of water in a bowl just to dip my fingers in. And I am going to squeeze some out. Am I? It's a little bit harder than I thought. I'm going to squeeze some out, and I'm going to wet my finger a little bit and just go in and try to get this smushed down into these cracks to fill them out, or fill them in, I should say. I did kind of know that it was going to crack. I didn't realize the magnitude at which it was going to crack. Based on the fact that I molded it around the foil, I did a little bit of research prior to doing this, and what I read was, because I'm putting it onto something that is water-based, the clay is water-based, the foam clay, Model Magic, and it needs to dry. Well, if it doesn't dry evenly on both sides, it will tend to crack. But I didn't realize it was going to be this bad. So I'm going to try to salvage this, and just know for next time that I'll probably use a different type of foam clay that has more flexibility to it. So I'm going to continue doing this. And this one from Dollar Tree, this caulking, it is paintable. So I'll still be able to paint this with no problems. I just want to disguise the cracks as much as possible. So get a little bit more water to help smooth that. And I think that some cracking will be okay. After all, it is a cake. It is the cake part. And I don't think that seeing a crack in a cake would be too unusual. But just not this amount of cracking. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and get on with this. And once it is dry, I will come back with the painting portion. The repair job that I did with the caulking turned out pretty okay. There are still some visible cracks along the side of this. But I'm gonna have to just go with it. And with the frosting part of it, that actually came out really, really good. I just smoothed the caulking inside of the areas where the cracks were, and that actually looks really good. So there's no deep crevices in this. I'm going to set this off to the side for now because I want to work on the cake and the cupcake cup portion. So here is the glitter part that I did earlier that has fully dried, and I really love how it came out. I wish the camera would do this justice. The amount of different colors of glitter that are sparkling on here are just gorgeous, along with the gold. Anyway, what I've tested here are some different colors that I think resemble gingerbread. This first one is called Chestnut, and these are all lies. They're not all apple barrel. So this one is apple barrel, and then this one is called Cinnamon, and it's by Folk Art. See that color, the middle color there? And then the last color is through apple barrel, and that's Classic Caramel. So the color I'm going to go with is the middle one because it's the one I like the most. It's looks pretty spicy, which I like for gingerbread. So I'm going to go ahead and use that today to paint the cake portion, and then inside of these inside of these unpainted areas here, to make it look like there's cake in there. So let me just get this open. I'm going to take my paintbrush and I'm going to, actually, I think I'm going to use a smaller one to get into these spaces here. And I don't have to paint all the way through, and we're just going to come up to right about this area here. So all I'm going to do is just paint this on for this area. Just like that. So I'm going to continue around here with this portion. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry, and I will come in with a second coat, and then I'm going to move on to this one here. And this one, again, I don't need to paint the whole thing, so I'm just going to come around and make this my stopping point as far as going into the top. Just remember, the frosting part is going to be glued on. It's going to be glued on top of this. And I can see this is going to need a second coat as well already. So I'm just going to go ahead and paint this going down around. For the icing here, I'm going to use that mixture of the Ballet slipper and the hazelnut that I used for the cupcake cup. But I added some more Ballet slipper back into it and some of this cameo pink. So I'm going to go ahead and take this and paint over. I just didn't want to waste what I had mixed up, so I had saved it in this little mini Play-Doh cup because I seem to have, I do have a lot of those Play-Doh cups laying around. So since it's airtight, I use that for any leftover paints that I have, that I can reuse them if I have an excess of mixtures that I make. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this a coat and see if I like this color. If not, I can try and add some more to it to see after the first coat. I can add some more color and do another coat on this. This does seem to be covering this pretty well though, so I may not even need to do a second coat if I am enjoying the color, which so far I am. It's just a matter of, is it different enough from the cupcake liner that I did. I didn't really have a specific color in mind, so for this, kind of just winging this part, but I thought pink would be pretty with the spiciness of the actual cake. So I'm just going to continue on painting this and then set it aside to dry, and I think I'll be ready to start putting on some embellishments after this. The paint has dried on everything now, so what I want to do is go ahead and glue this one into place first, and then I want to work on this piece separately. So I'm going to go ahead and set this one off to the side, and I have my Tite Bond Quick and Thick here that I'm going to be using, and I'm also going to be using some hot glue to hold it in place. So I think what's going to need to happen is a big dollop. Let's put it here to start with. And then I think what I'm going to do is put some along here as well. And then I'm going to take some hot glue and go in between. Come on. Okay. And I had already started putting this on here, and I kind of dug it in a little bit. So I'm just going to try to find that spot again and just press it down. And fingers crossed that all of the adhesives made contact. Nothing squeezed out that I can see, so I think that's a good thing. So what I'm going to do is find something kind of heavy-ish and just kind of place it on top of here and leave that to dry for a little bit. Okay, now for the top. I have some super light clay here by Zeo Sag. I got a multi-pack of these on Amazon. If it's still available, I will link it. Let me look down here and see. It comes with 24 colors in the pack, and it's just these little tubs like this. And I rather like it because I don't do too many large projects. So it's good to have, you know, just some colored clays to use. So it's kind of the same process as, what is that one that I used the other day? Model Magic that I used on here. I find that this one is a lot softer. I will say also, I've had this for quite a long time, like an embarrassingly long time, and I didn't open it. And when I went to open it today to look at it, a lot of them, the lids were popped, and so the clay was dry inside. I think that happened to about 6 out of the 24. So I would say if you're going to get it, just kind of pop it open, even if you're not going to use it, and just make sure, and maybe check it periodically, because I don't know if it happened on arrival or maybe it got too hot while it was sitting somewhere. I know we moved, and a lot of my stuff had sat in the garage for a little while, and so that could have been the issue with it. I just really don't know. Anyway, I'm just rolling up like a little pea size here to make sprinkles, which is why I have the clay out, and I've been rambling on for a little while. I'm just rolling it on my silicone mat here, and then rolling it back and forth like this to create kind of like a really big tic tac, and then I turn it lengthwise this way and kind of roll it out, if that's making any sense, to make some bigger sprinkles to go on here. And I've already started making some of the colors. I did have to mix some because, again, I did lose some to drying out. So I ended up mixing the purple, which I did that color, and green, which I mixed these two colors. And then for the purple, I mixed this color with a little pink and a little red to get that purple. This purple, sorry. So let me move these back off. And I'm just going to pinch a little bit of this off. And this stuff is really pleasant to work with. As far as longevity, I can't speak to that because, like I said, I'm just opening it today. But if I remember and I'm still here at Christmas, which I believe I will, pardon me, if I'm still here at Christmas, and I bring this back out at actual Christmas time, I'll try to remember to give an update on the clay. Or if anyone has used this Shell Sag, I have no idea, I'm sorry, super light clay, it'll be linked in the description box. If anyone else is familiar with that particular brand of clay, let us know in the comments. So I just knead it here and then take off like a pea size amount, get it into a ball. That's a little too big. Roll it into a ball, roll it with just very light pressure, and then I turn it sideways and roll it sideways with just a little light pressure. And while I have it sideways, I'm looking for it to be about the length to my first knuckle. I did roll out 3 of each color. I'm not sure if I'm going to be using 3 of each color, but since I was having to mix some, I just wanted to make sure that I had enough, that way I didn't have to go back in and mix anymore. So I think I've gotten all of the colors out that I'm going to use. I also, in that kit also comes this cute little roller, and it comes with some different, what are these called? I can't think of what they're called. It's not a stamp, a cutter. It comes with the different shaped cutters, and so I thought it would be cute to use this heart. You see that? Heart cutter. So I'm gonna cut a couple of these and try out this roller. So this one was one that was, looked like it was kind of open, because it's not as elasticy. So I'm just gonna use this cute little roller. Okay. And I'm gonna stamp it in. And then punch it out. And that's the heart shape we got. It's pretty cute. So bring that up a little bit. It's got a little. So I'm just going to stamp out a couple more of these. Then I'm going to get set up to start putting them onto here. All right, so I have this little guy here, and it's only half of him. It's not meant to be half, but it is, and so I wanted to use it. I actually found this at Michael's a couple of years ago, and I knew I could do something with it, and I asked the cashier if I could buy it, and she said, well, you know, usually we just throw stuff like this away. And I said, well, you know, I could use it. And so she sold it to me, this one and this one, because it's missing an arm. She sold them to me for, I think, like 75 cents, something crazy cheap. 75 cents together. And these were originally $5. So I thought that was a pretty good deal, and here I am now getting ready to use it. So this is what I've been saving this hole for, and this is what it looks like on the top of the cupcake. Now I do realize that I am going to have to fill in some of this area, so I'll probably, when it comes time, do some clay, and then I save the paint that I used on this and just fill in that area some more, and with some white clay, and then paint it to match so it doesn't look so like, yeah, that's a broken off gingerbread cookie in there. So that's what's going here. So what I'm going to do is bring in some of the sprinkles here that I've made, and we're gonna start, or I'm gonna start gluing them on. So these are the different colors that I did. Pink one, okay. Two. Okay, I think I got them all. And I'm going to be using the Quick and Thick to get these on. And I'm just going to start gluing. I think that's going to be the best bet here. So I'm hoping that these don't start slip sliding. They are pretty light, and the glue does dry clear, so that'll be all right. You gotta be careful not to have glue on your fingers when you pick up because all of these are still wet. As I find that it does stick and start pulling apart a little bit. So you just want to make sure you try to get it with fingers that don't have glue. Okay, so this is what we have so far with the giant sprinkles, which I think on camera is really cute. And so I'm going to go ahead and keep gluing these, and then I'll come back once I've gotten all of the sprinkles that I'm going to put on glued on. Okay, so a lot has happened since I was last here. I was working on getting the sprinkles put on, which I did, and I added some of the red hearts that I had also. And then I started working on the covering of the whole area that I had here, and I forgot to press record, but all I did was I took the brown color of the super light clay here. In case you're wondering, you know how I did that. I just took pieces of the brown and balled it up to begin with, like this. And then I just made teardrop shapes that would fit in the particular area that I wanted. And then I just smoothed it as best I could into the area. So you can see some of the detail here on that. So it's supposed to look like a chocolate splat, basically, is how it looks like to me. But what I don't like about it is that it really blends in a lot with the gingerbread. So what I'm going to do is actually paint it, and I'm going to be painting it with chocolate sprinkle to reinforce that it's supposed to be chocolate, and also so that it doesn't match too much with these brown chocolate colored sprinkles as well. So this is more of like a darker chocolate color. So I'm gonna just squeeze some out onto my silicone mat here. I don't know why that's so stringy. That's gross. Anyway, and I have 3 different kinds of brushes here. I have this round detailer brush. I'm hoping that'll help me get around in these areas here. because I don't necessarily want to get it on the paint, but if I do have some of that mixture of paint left that I can do touch-ups with. And then I have this smaller brush to help get into the large areas. Oh, look at what I just did. And then I have this smaller flat brush also to help get into the detailed areas. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. And I'm just going to paint that chocolate in. So ideally, you'd want to have either the clay color, the color that you actually want it before you start sculpting it, or have a better plan of what order you would be putting it together in. Unfortunately, I didn't have any of those, so we're going with this method, but this isn't anything that's hard. It just takes a little bit more patience and just really paying attention to where your brush is hitting. I do have a couple of touch-ups that I'm going to have to do, and that's okay because, you know, I'm working with what I have on hand. Everything that I've used in this project so far is stuff that I've purchased, but I haven't newly purchased. These are all things that I've had in my stash. Again, the gingerbread is something that I got it. I didn't have a purpose for it at the moment that I got it, but it's been sitting in my stash, and I finally decided what I was wanting to use it on. This clay, again, has been sitting in my stash, and I didn't have any specific intentions. I knew I wanted to do some different Christmas things with it, but, you know, it's been sitting in my crafting stash for quite some time before I've actually gotten to use it. So I would say before you go out and start buying anything to make, check around in your stash to see, you know, I mean, if you're anything like me, which sometimes I just buy things because they're cute, I have no idea what I'm gonna do with it, but look around in your stash and see what you have that can work in place of this. For instance, like the foam clay. If you have air dry clay, you can most certainly use air dry clay instead. You know, for the gingerbread, if you don't have gingerbread, but you, I don't know, like snowflakes, you could do a snowflake instead of the gingerbread man, or a Santa, if you have like a Santa figurine that you want to use, not specifically glued to this. Or, you know, I understand that gingerbread is not everybody's theme. You know, it happens to be mine. I like doing it, and I like showing what I'm doing, so you know, helping give people inspiration as to what they can do. So I'm near the end of this here, so I'm just going to finish up this part, and then I'm going to let it dry. And see what I think of it, see if I want to add anything else. I'm thinking I do want to add some glitter to the mix here, so I will likely be back putting some glitter on here to jazz it up some more before I finally put it all together and then seal it. So I'll be back once this is all dry. The chocolate sprinkle paint has had a chance to dry on here, and I've also done some little touch-ups with the pink color. where I went over with the sprinkle color. I'm sorry, the chocolate sprinkle color. So now what I'm going to do is take some Mod Podge in this little jar here, and I have some glitter that I picked up a while ago from Hobby Lobby. It is called Espresso, and it's this dark brown color. And I'm going to actually mix the glitter in with the Mod Podge. To make it a little bit neater than just painting it with the Mod Podge and sprinkling the glitter on top. I'm just going to put a couple of scoops of glitter in this. I want it to be well saturated with glitter. Okay. And I'm just going to take, let's see, the back of this paintbrush here and mix that in. And I'm just going to paint it on. Well, first I'm going to get the excess off of here, as much of it as I can. Excuse me. And I think I'm going to have to use a couple of different brushes again. I'm just going to do this one here. Kind of a small one. And I'm just going to paint it on. Okay, so this is what it's looking like so far, and I think that looks really pretty. I'm hoping that the Mod Podge will not have that cloudy look. I know sometimes when you use Mod Podge, it can leave like a cloudy color. But what I'm going to do is let this dry for a while, and then I'm going to look over it to see if it needs any further coats, and then going to seal it. I'm still looking right now to see if I missed anything. Sorry. So, oops. So once that's dry and I see if it needs another coat, I'll go ahead and give it, and I will be back. I'm back sooner than expected because I completely forgot about this base and that it needed to be attached with this. I was feeling this so much I forgot about this part. So I'm going to be using the Quick and Thick Tite Bond glue and also some hot glue to go ahead and connect these together. And I'm just going to set this on here. I know it's going to be kind of hard for you to see from this angle. I apologize. But I'm going to go ahead and glue that together. And I'm going to put a big dollop in the middle like I did for the last stage. And then I'm not going to come too far out because I don't want that glue oozing out. Okay. Hopefully that's ready. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to put some hot glue in here also. And now I'm going to set this on top. Stand here, make sure. All right, that looks pretty good. And I still haven't waited for the chocolate to finish drying the glitter that I just put on. So I pretty much just immediately came right back after I realized that I didn't add the base on. So I'm gonna still let that dry down some, and if I missed any areas, I'll touch those up. And then after that, I am going to seal it. Now what I want to do is seal it with it's a Rust-Oleum gloss to cover, but I'm going to lean this back a little bit so you can kind of get a look at what we got going on here. But for now, I'm going to let that dry, and I will be back with final pictures. So stay tuned for that. I know this was a long one, but it was well worth the time it took to create this beauty. I hope you enjoyed seeing how I made this extra large gingerbread man cupcake. If you like this project, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and subscribe if you haven't already for more DIY ideas. Thanks for watching. See you next time.